Hey,
Hey, good morning, Dracula. A rousing intro as always. Thank you for compiling that.
we got to play The Boy Who Saved Crypto for the first time in like weeks. So had a green day. I was like, I gotta play it while we have time, while we can do it.
Yeah, we're back to price stability, 70 cents, exactly where we need to be, where we should have been, where we belong here on Sonic. That is our safety zone. That's not going to be very popular, is it?
It feels a lot better than 62, 63, because you start going to the lower 60s, then you start thinking about the 50 cents, and then it's just a free fall.
Yeah. So congratulations to you out there who filled your buys at 60s. Balls of steel you got there. I was getting a little anxious, but as you know, we're both fairly bullish here still. I think. We think this thing's going to turn around. I think this is the beginning of the turnaround here for at least this next leg.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as is tradition, like I said, this is the chart that I base pretty much everything on. Bitcoin Weekly.
This is the God chart. Damien,
this is the chart. This is the chart. Like I said, I have to usually bring it up there that the Ichi Weekly, right around there, October 23, when it finally entered the cloud, I said, okay, I can stop bear posting. I can start gearing up for bull posting. And, as I've continuously said, we've had market nukes. We've had, the holiday stuff. You go back to this chart and you realize, hey, we're still okay. We still have a ways to go before I would flip bearish on the market. I mean, we have a ways to go before I would. I mean, we'd have to go below 70K or something. I mean, it would have to be. Yeah, I won't jinx it. I'll knock on the desk here. But Bitcoin, yeah, I mean, it's still holding strong. I mean, in some ways good, in some ways bad. Wanted to take a look at the dominance chart. As we've talked about Bitcoin dominance as a, looking at this chart, you can kind of get an idea of, are alts going to run? When are they going to run? And that's a little bit of the unfortunate part with the price action still is, like I said, we really want to get into this like below 50% Bitcoin dominance area. We were kind of making some moves here. Alts ripping a little bit, but then we had our, market nuke and everything. So Bitcoin has regained dominance almost to 60%. You were talking about this before the show, that is there even going to be an alt season? Because, you were talking about something you read where.
Yeah, there's just, it's a classic refrain. If you're on trading Twitter at all around crypto, a lot of people point out there's like so many alts now. There's a shitload of alt tokens, thousands of them. So there might not be enough liquidity to have a proper alt season where no matter where you're shooting, you're getting bullseyes. You know what I mean? It could be very well that we're cannibalizing each other's liquidity with the 10 million L1s, 50 trillion variations of sushi swap still. There's no way for liquidity to concentrate to get a proper pump.
Well, yeah, but I think part of it is we're still just not there yet. We're not. If you were here last run, you will know when we've hit that retail euphoria, when even the most worthless shit coins, shit projects are still going up 15-20% every single day for days. We're just not there yet. And it is kind of getting harder sometimes, I think, to compare what's happening now to last run, because there were some things that maybe never happen again. Everybody was sitting at home with nothing to do. Everybody was sitting at home with extra money in their pockets from stimmies.
Yeah. Everyone was not working. They were working from home and they were trading crypto instead.
I mean, and the timing, it's like everybody was at home. They get their stimmy checks right as, GameStop, all that stuff's happening. So everybody's thinking, oh, I can do that. I can figure that out. Not to say that we're not, I do think we're like we're in a bullish market. We're not full-blown bull yet, but
do you think there's a possibility, Dracula, that as crypto participants we're spoiled? Because there is a, what do you call it, an expectation that I think is very unique to crypto markets, where people expect a 3-month investment to pay out like 150%. And if it doesn't, then it's garbage and it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like if you were to go into any normal investing space, they call you fucking insane, right? The only people that expect something like that are not even VCs. VCs expect to eat shit for like years.
Yeah, a year or two. Yeah. I think there's still some of that for people that have been around. I think by default, I mean, there's no way around it that Bitcoin has been way more violent than the upside on Bitcoin has been insanely violent compared to like everything, just about.
Yeah.
Except for those like random things that, have
XRP.
a quick pop and, XRP. Wow. So yeah, it is kind of like everybody's kind of waiting for this alt season. I think it still comes personally. I think that there's just still a lot of things that have to happen for the market to get to that retail, that retail phase where people are saying, man, like I got to put some money in crypto. And, the situation we're heading into, the administration, everything else. I mean, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen with the setup we have right now.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. If we were to pursue that thesis that it's going to shape up differently this time, which it has to, because the landscape is different. Really, Bitcoin, our justification for that pumping is there's really only one Bitcoin. The reason why you're seeing things like Ethereum struggle is because there's a million alternatives to Ethereum now, and a lot of them are superior for a lot of the use cases people want to use it for. But overall, I agree with you. I think there is still an alt season coming. I think it's going to be selected ones doing big numbers, like say Sonic, unique value proposition here in a good spot. But I do think that, like you said, the landscape we're going into, fairly bullish actually, but there is also a lot of like, not froth. It's also really inflated. S&P's up like insane. Equities are up insane over the last like 5 years. So there might be a need for a little bit of blood drawing, you know what I mean? A little bit of bleeding in the market just in general to get some of this bloat out. And if you were to look around the crypto markets, I think you could say a similar thing. I'm sure we can all identify a couple products that if we're being as objective as possible, we could say this does not warrant this price tag. And it probably needs to bleed. Not to say, naming names, say like Farcoin or something, you know what I mean? We really think Farcoin's going to $1 trillion market cap? I don't know. But I'm interested in whether or not we're going to see kind of like the violent convulsions to shake off like this excess liquidity out of these weaker tokens into the bigger ones, or if we're going to see the best case scenario where, I don't know, Trump just comes out and says, I'm making all crypto illegal, and everyone just buys all of it immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, we're still heading into a situation where we could have that alt season. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think that going back to just how many projects there are, I mean, there were a lot of projects last run, but in the scope of things, you're looking at like, say, look at Fantom, right? Like, over the scope of the entire run or whatever, maybe hundreds of projects?
Yeah.
Then
and Fantom had a lot more projects compared to other chains at the time. And now, I mean,
now you're looking at, there's probably been hundreds just since like Sonic launch, because, you got the token launchers and no code stuff. And, it's kind of like what we talked about with the meme tokens before, where it was like, everybody's kind of just got like their own personal meme token, like it's just, it's like a different landscape. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that in each category, really. I wouldn't be surprised, DeFi, that's always been the case. DeFi, it's always been that every chain has maybe tops 10, maybe like projects that are sucking up most of the TVL. Usually it's less than that. But DeFi, it's kind of like by default, the market regulates, based on which ones are making people the most money and everything else. But, for stuff like memes and AI and everything else, you don't really have that yet. Where, I wouldn't be surprised to see that, if you have 100 meme tokens, everything just kind of starts, the market starts regulating a little bit, where maybe things just slowly bleed out and everything goes into, you know, the top, I don't know, 4 or 5 memes on a chain, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, we just haven't seen that yet. So it's still just like saturation.
A thesis that might play out is we just see a massive consolidation into strong players. And I think that'd probably be the best outcome. I mean, not for your super risk on assets like your fart coins or whatever. I wanted to put this up here because we're talking about kind of like the distribution of projects too. Like you're saying, like, you know, and that's an interesting point. It's a good one that, like, for DeFi, it always was like every chain has like their DEX, right? But it is kind of shifting a little bit. It's not like Uniswap is eating everybody's lunch. Also, it struck a weird equilibrium, I guess is what I was thinking more, is that with the V3 dexes, you kind of saw that continue to play out, where each chain would have their specific V3 dex. I think Aerodrome is like the only one that's like multiple chains, or are they even? I don't know. Maybe I'm talking on my ass here, but
well, Aerodrome and Velodrome, which, you know, they're separate projects, but kind of, you know,
yeah,
same team and everything.
So, but there is like this thing that we've talked about for a while. I've talked about for a while. Common theme in crypto right now is the flattening of the chains, where we're probably going to start seeing projects just consume because bridging becomes easier. I mean, take Hey and On, right? It'll make it really easy. I don't have to worry about bridging. I just say, go to this vault on this chain and it'll handle it for me. So now it's not really going to matter where I'm based for the projects themselves. But to that point, though, I also wanted to point out we have seen an explosion of protocols. I don't have like a historical view, but I remember looking at this for like DeFi stuff years ago. Sonic, formerly Fantom, had like number 3 in terms of like number of protocols, like behind.
Yeah, there was like 200, 300.
Yeah,
something.
It was right behind BNB. Now we're still dealing with people launching, migrating, and the like. But if you look around, oh yeah, right here, 333 Phantom. But if you come up, you know, Arbitrum 750, dude, like base 424. I mean, these are L2s. They're having a lot of like what's already on Ethereum, but massive explosion. So there's a lot more places for this money to settle.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I could see that, you know, like I said, where there's only so many things that it makes sense to, you know, vamp liquidity or take most of the liquidity. And also, you know, in the bear market, I mean, I made a joke about this a couple times in the bear market, where I think you're going to see the same thing with like the infrastructure. Like, you know, VCs were deploying chains and infra like shit coins in the bear, because it was just, you know, it just made more money for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be shocked to like also see the same thing, where a lot of these chains are just going to become like ghost chains. If they're not already.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we already see so many of them. I mean, even like in that scenario, when we were seeing in the bear market, just chains launch, right? 10, like a insane valuation, and there's like 20 users or something. Lots and lots of like heavily invested, high tech stuff, even sometimes completely face planting out the gate.
We were just talking about that before the show, the Polygon ZK EVM or whatever, where there was like a figure the other day where it was like 8,000 TXs or something over the course of like a day or two, which is like insane, you know, for how hyped the ZK, you know, meta was and everything. So yeah, I mean,
I know a lot of our audience is degens, and I'm a degen too. I have a little, you know, I'm a good portion degen. I like those quick profits, but it is something to keep in mind when you're, not to give financial advice, but when you're building your positions and the like, being able to try and identify what's going to have the staying power based off of its metrics versus like what is purely speculation driven. Because there's nothing wrong with a purely speculation driven play, right? But when you look at Sonic, daily users, transactions done, right? You could say probably undervalued a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, actually, instead of looking at the S chart, because there's really not even a lot of history, I was going to say, speaking of dead projects, right? Speaking of, this is a project that's just never actually going to come out, I think. But
Monad, you really think Monad's never going to come out?
It is going to come out.
I'm kind of suspicious it might not. I'm actually starting to think it might not. They might manufacture some crisis, like, oh no, our entire code base caught on fire.
Yeah, so like
just start again, we have to raise again.
I still kind of wonder where all this started where like the Andre and Sonic and Monad kind of
didn't it start because like they were doing a lot of the things that Sonic was developing, like over the bear market. A lot of the posts would be things like, you know, parallel EVM and whatever.
Yeah, like I know
things
this was kind of the same issue with Say or Psy. Like I said, I never know how to say it. SEI, Say, you know. I do remember this. There was kind of the same issue with that, as where it was like you had these founders like chirping Andre about tech and stuff, or, you know, they were just straight up copying what he was trying to do, and he would call them out and they'd argue, and then it would always just be like, bro, like, how are we even arguing when like they're still not a product? Which, you know, Say they'd eventually launch their V2 or whatever, didn't really seem to make a lot of noise. They thought it was going to like dominate the alt L1 kind of space. But Monad is an interesting situation, because everybody knows there's a bunch of VCs in it, billions of dollars. You know, it had this famous evaluation of like 3 billion or something crazy, but still no product. And then to top it off, the funniest thing of all time was, in Andre, of course, has the pointed out here, was they released their DevNet, and the documents still had, not the documents, but the code still had some traces of basically Avalanche in it.
Yeah.
They didn't scrub all the AVAX mentions in the doc. So it's kind of like, what is your actual product? Your DevNet, which is supposed to be your product, was literally just an Avalanche fork.
Now, I think I like he says, please shut the freak up and go back into your good vibes hole. It's all Monad is vibes, which, I mean, I think there is something to be said about the immense effort they put into building like a community and like a culture. Does feel like maybe not AstroTurf, but it feels a little like less organic, like very performative.
Well, it's like eventually when you,
I think it was product. There's nothing to really rally.
I mean, it was a smart, obviously, you know, smart people behind the wheel, where it was kind of like what I was saying with VCs deploying infrastructure like shitcoins. It's kind of like the guys took that concept of meme tokens and were like, you know, if we're going to like stand out, if we're going to do this and that, yes, we have money behind us, but we need a cult. I mean, I can't think of a chain that has like a cult, you know, like Monad kind of has that going without the chain even. I mean, I guess Barachain, another chain that kind of has like this crazy cult community already that's been around now for years, but there's still no chain. But at least Barachain's testnet was the actual product and not, you know.
Yeah, it's been, I feel like I was hearing about Barachain in 2021. And I think this is to kind of the point that we're even talking about, where the markets are like flush with cash. This is kind of just a symptom of the current economic system, where it's like, I mean, you see it in like traditional tech with like Uber or whatever, where the VCs will dump like an ass load of money, lose a bunch of money for a decade straight, just so that they can get that massive return at the end of 10 years. But it's all speculation. Yeah. I guess a better example would be like Theranos. Theranos, the lady that was like testing blood. Oh, my camera died. I'll switch the battery here in a minute. But what I'm getting at here is, yeah, it's like that meme coin thing where we'll raise the money and then we'll give something at some point. But the valuation is way larger than, say, what you need to accomplish the first step.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so, yeah, this whole thing started because basically somebody brought up AnySwap multi-chain, which pretty much you're guaranteed to trigger an angry Andre post if, you know, you get enough traction on it and you talk about multi-chain and Fantom. So he started with here because it was a Monad person. Then we had one of the Monad co-founders.
James.
He hopped in the fight, but you know, he says, actually, our parallel EVM works great, blah, blah, blah. Because Andre also was accusing them of, like, you know, first they copied his parallel EVM. Now, you know, when they got closer to Sonic, they touted, actually, it's our database aspect that's really going to, like, you know, that really like saves room and makes things whatever. So mysteriously after that, Monad said, oh, we also have like this cool database we're working on. So dude hopped up, said, you know, actually, the parallel EVM works, the database is good, but I think you just got to fess up at some point, bro. There was literal AVAX references in the code base. So I don't know how you wiggle out of that one, right?
That'd be a strange one to even try and like. I feel like that's not even like programmers do that all the time. Software developers do that all the time, right? They'll take like a template or a base that you want to modify.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird thing, like to outright deny it. If there's proof, you could just be like, yeah, we took their code base, we made significant changes.
Or if it's just, if it's just a part or it's something you're using, then you say, well, yeah, we borrowed this part of Avalanche's code for our blah, blah, blah. And then that's kind of the end of the story.
See, what I would have said, and I would have really tried to get Andre with this one. I said, well, this is the open source you love so much, Cronier. Don't you love open source? Isn't the whole spirit of it?
Yeah. I mean,
to keep this beef going, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's funny because, yeah, I mean, this is, it's not like you said, it's not like an uncommon thing to, when you're building something with code, it's usually like 90 whatever percent of your code is just things borrowed from other things to make your life easier. And then a small percent is actually like your take on it or your little twist that's novel. So I think they could have nipped that in the bud pretty easily, but they didn't. So it's just going to keep coming back.
Should have done a control H for AVAX.
Yeah.
Code too.
So yeah, the fight went on. There was, somebody else that hopped in from Monad, just, pretty much saying like, you were involved in multi-chain, you're bad. But I do enjoy these spats though. I think the guy from Monad, he's not quite as entertaining as the the main Say guy. That guy can at least like talk shop. Like,
yeah, Monad guys kind of got,
he's just like
community.
Actually, it's good. I can't tell you why, but it's good.
It's also really easy to critique someone else's like work on a project when yours isn't live too. You know what I mean? It's like backseat.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Management.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about it though, because it's like, why would you even come after Andre when you don't even have a product, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're not, look, as my good friend, that one guy from All In says, you got to have respect for the man in the arena. Is Monad in the arena yet? I don't know. Maybe.
Not really. You just got a bunch of people, posting purple stuff, which, shout out to David Blunts, but, you got to have more than just posts with purple things.
Now, I'm not trying to just completely trash talk Monad here. I'm just trying to be a little defensive because of my Sonic here. But if, maybe if Monad does onboard Dave Blunts, maybe that'll change things for me. I don't know. Maybe they'll flip me to their side.
Honestly, if they got David Blunts to make some transactions and,
put him in a song, maybe.
Yeah. Make a song, bull post, kind of like we got, Mr. Clean for GMSONIC, you get David Blunts to say, I can't stop doing TXs on the purple chain or something.
Yeah, dude, I can't put down the chain. I can't
put down the purple chain,
Yeah.
Actually, we shouldn't even be saying this because they're going to probably fucking copy it now. That's all they do is pretty much just copy everyone's stuff. So,
yeah, look, guys, you can do that if you bring me on board, even my consultancy fee. I can hook you up with Dave Blunts going out to LA next week. Gonna see him. But regardless, it won't stop Sonic, is what I'm getting at. This whole kind of, it's good for us. It's just good publicity, I think, because we're going to have Trump saying he's farming Sonic points in the dream. I don't know if you saw that, but they've said that Trump is going to make an executive order on cryptocurrency day one he takes office, which is in 6 days. Another bull catalyst here for you. Inauguration, very bullish. But I'm pretty sure he's going to say that he's going to start farming Sonic points. With the U.S. Treasury.
That would be a good idea. Get your hands on some of those 200,000 S tokens.
Can you imagine, dude? Can you imagine Trump just in the trenches, just farming shit coins, just to try and get as much Sonic points as possible?
We launched it on Degen Express. It was beautiful. But speaking of which, speaking of just vibes and no substance, we have a Telegram group we're about to kick out. We'll have links and stuff soon. People have been asking for a TG. I think it's time we finally do it. So yeah, we'll have all that stuff soon. Where we'll be in there. You guys can hop in there. Tell us what you want to hear. Give us alpha. Give us intel. all that stuff. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, let us know how the trenches are going for you. What's getting you excited, all that kind of stuff. What's got you concerned? I kind of want to turn it into a nice place just for the community to kind of, mentor, give each other alpha, that kind of shit. But also so I can get some free content off you guys. So be sure to post your content in there.
Yeah, other stuff going on. Obviously, Defai has been popping off. Shout out to Daniele. But yeah, man, they just keep rolling with this stuff. You know what? You're showing Souvlaki, which, also shout out to Souvlaki. You're sitting here showing I had like the greatest bull post of the week.
Oh, hell yeah.
For Hey Anon, right? But no, seriously, they just announced. I am honestly kind of shocked by this. On top of everything else they're developing, they are dropping like a framework for devs, which is insane because so far that's pretty much reserved for the real heavy hitters. AI16Z has a framework. Obviously that's one of the original huge like AI crypto kind of projects. And then Cerebro, which is probably also, second, third biggest crypto AI project. They dropped a framework called ZeriPy, which, it runs on Python. So basically, Hey Anon, I mean, they are dropping their own framework for developers. And that's just like big. I mean, that's big time. So what I pointed out here that I thought was cool was right now there's like a barrier for entry where everybody, you're starting to see it. Everybody's getting, kind of like shit coins. Everyone's like making their own AI Twitter agent. And the barrier for entry on just that part is kind of low. There's already like no code things. There's already deployers that have been crushing it where you can just kind of enter some info and boom, it kicks it out for you and you link it to your X and you're done. So the real barrier of entry is data, pretty much. Making these agents that have little personalities is getting to the point where it's not super hard. The barrier for entry is really like once you start getting into looking at like real data and real numbers and having to build databases for what your AI is looking at and all this stuff. So what my post was about was one of the first things they mentioned here is that anyone can integrate data streams because, that's the other thing too, is on top of, sure, you can get price APIs feeds from things like CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, but where it gets complicated is actually like on-chain DeFi kind of stuff. That data is harder to get your hands on, and there's really actually not one great way to access that across chains. So the idea here, this is what I said, was this alone in their framework is going to take it to $1 billion market cap, is people being able to integrate feeds for like protocols into the framework, and then people can have access to that. So essentially what that would mean is like once these things get integrated into the actual framework, like you could say, when you're using the bot, you could say, hey, Anon, tell me the price of this on this chain or whatever. Boom, it's already there. Like, if you're making an agent or whatever, they're already going to have access to this information. So it'll take a little time, right? Because people are going to have to add a lot of things, and I'm sure they will, but it's going to remove that next barrier of entry, which is, as far as these crypto projects, is having information, having data from actual crypto stuff. Yeah.
I think that's a brilliant move by Danny. That's something, if you've seen, other shows I've done, I talk a lot about the AI intersection. I mean, it's been on everyone's lips lately, but that is definitely the consensus on like the way to go, right? Like Andre famously said this, I think last year, where it's like, there's not really a lot of synergy for AI and crypto. It's actually a fairly narrow little angle. Yep. And what it is, and the real value generation isn't going to be, a fucking bot that posts for you, right? That's not like a crazy one. It is going to be pulling in these different data streams and operating on them. So obviously the most valuable part is the data stream itself. So I think that's a really good place to position himself. And also really fortunate timing when he did this. If you notice, look, I'll show that it's not all about price. Look, I'm not going to say it's all about price, but it's not. But you see, hey, Anon, God, I wish I could have got in early, dude.
Love to see it, man. Love to see it. And
Mhm.
the whole unit bias thing, just kind of throwing that out the window. I mean, this thing's gonna, like I said, I see it going to $1 billion market cap easy at this point.
I was thinking I wanted a dip, but I regret waiting for a dip. I don't know if
It's kind of one of those situations where
it's an elevator.
You keep telling yourself, when I get a good pullback, I'm gonna get some, but it just never really comes. That's kind of what's happened with this so far. There was like maybe one pullback where it's like, no, I don't want to, $17. No, I want like $9, but I don't think it's ever coming. So
yeah, it doesn't seem like it. And I want to commend Danny here for that, because it's crazy. It's crazy to operate at that. It's working so well and maintaining that kind of momentum. I want to throw this up there because there was when that nuke hit the market last, like a couple days, AI tokens were extremely hard hit. So what you were saying, Zerbro is like one of the competitors in terms of launching frameworks. They got hit with like a massive dump. AI 16Z also got hit with a huge dump. Lots of little dramas around them. Yeah. And somehow Danny, noted Ponzi lord, has emerged unscathed to take the crown. I think it's a good opening in the market for him.
Well, that's how some of these projects were kind of smart, is when you're first or whatever, or when you're one of the first. Some of these projects had absolutely terrible tokenomics, and that was surely intentional, just knowing people are going to buy it and it's going to go crazy. And so, since you had CoinGecko up, I was going to show this too. I heard Danny on another show, and this was like a big podcast he did last week. And really not the smartest thing he said, but something that should resonate with people was, he was like, I control the narrative. I created the narrative. I controlled the narrative. And that's what he did. He started calling it, Defai. But, he started coining everything that went to CoinGecko, had to make a category. So
that's smart. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, now it's like this category is trending every single day. Now projects are fighting to be, considered, DeFi AI. I'm not going to say DeFi anymore. I can't take it. They're DeFi AI. So, I mean, seriously, if you think about it, it's crazy like that, it's like he was right. He said, I created this narrative. I'm controlling this narrative.
It was really, and it feels like something really only someone in Danny's position can do. He's got a large following, a large active following, so he could kind of generate that momentum behind it. Because let's be honest here, DeFi AI does not roll off the tongue as easy as AI-Fi, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is he making it stick. I'm sure you all have seen the various polls that clout farmers, engagement farmers have been posting. Let's settle this once and for all: DeFi AI or AI-Fi. So he forced the conversation, is forcing the conflict, and whether or not you agree, he's at least forced it into mindshare, which I think is really impressive. Yeah. Take notes, marketers.
Yeah, for sure. So, then last thing we were going to point out, we were supposed to have somebody on today. I don't know if we got that. We forgot to kind of like finalize it, but they were from Hypersonic. But we were going to talk about, while points are apparently about to go live. I think they did go live this morning, actually. So tracking Sonic points is like finally a thing. So last episode, or at least last I was on, since I missed Friday, last episode, we were kind of just talking about, how to like maximize your points and everything. And so far, what I like is you got Rings Protocol, which essentially you're minting stable tokens or their version of ETH. You can take it straight from Ethereum, or you can do it on Sonic. They're eventually going to have staking and locking and, like ways to like earn, like rev share from their fees generated and everything. But for now, while we're talking about points, I like this idea of, wrapping, like, say your, USDC on Sonic, turning it into SCUSD. Then you go to, wherever, Shadow, Equalizer, SwapX, Beethoven, wherever. You take that SCUSD, you put it somewhere else to earn yield. So now you're double dipping, right? So the other one I like for that, and everyone's probably heard about this by now, but Beethoven moved their staked Phantom project over to Sonic. It's called STS. And same deal here, you know, like on the staked S, you're actually earning APR while you're in it. And then you can still take that. So you're earning APR, you're earning points, which they've already said that for the points, the liquid staking tokens, kind of like STS, have like a large multiplier on them. So it's good to do if you want points. But you're earning yield, you're earning points. Then you take that STS and same deal. You know, you find a pool on one of the other dexes that's also offering points. So you're double dipping on points, you're double dipping on yield, all that good stuff.
So psycho thing you could do is what? Go to Rings. And maybe we'll put a referral link below. I don't know. But you go to Rings, you mint some SCUSD. I'm assuming that there is some SCUSD Sonic liquidity. If you want to be a real psycho here, you just mint that. You'd swap the SCUSD you just minted for Sonic, and then you would deposit it, get staked S, and now you're like, what, quadruple dipping on points or something crazy?
Yeah. I mean, so lots of strategies there. But take advantage of it. Like I said, points just went live. Apparently you can go, I don't have the link right here, but you can go to like the Sonic Lab site, go to your dashboard, kind of see like what you already have earned.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Sorry, we've got breaking news here. I thought this was joking with me here. Is this real? Is this a real announcement here? Coinbase International, is the real Coinbase International account?
Okay. This is good news.
Fantastic news. Fantastic news, baby.
Yeah. So
AI Illuminati. Thank you so much.
Bringing the exclusive. But yeah, that's a good deal. That doesn't mean that's not like a straight up like Coinbase listing as far as like US, but often on the international exchange or the wallet or whatever, things that are often on their way to Coinbase listing usually get pushed to one of these platforms where they kind of test demand, you know, see if people are trading it, see if people want it. But 9 times out of 10, it's a good omen. Like normally if they go through the trouble of, you know, creating the infrastructure for a token to work with their products, it usually, like I said, 8-9 times out of 10, it usually means there is going to be a Coinbase listing. So this is big.
Huge, guys. Huge, guys. Now you can buy perps internationally.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much all we got today, man. It's Tuesday.
I mean, sorry to Hypersonic, you know, reach out and we can reschedule. Because I haven't heard of Hypersonic, to be honest with you. I was eager to talk about it. We pulled up their site. Looks quite cool. They got a bean and a donut on it. Looks good.
So, yeah. And as always, we got people knocking on the door. We got guests coming. So, but nice to every once in a while just have a pure shoot the shit episode.
For sure. And again, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. Sorry if you have and I haven't responded. I was scared of my unread messages folder in that, you know how it says like people you don't know. I realized like, oh yeah, most of these people I probably don't follow. So
yeah,
be persistent. I'll get to you. I'll just hold on. I'll get to you. I'll go through that folder, clear it out of all the OnlyFans models and the like. But yeah, I guess that's everything we got for today, right? It's a big day though. It's huge. This is a turnaround, fellas. That's why I got my professorial coat on.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Big news for sure. And yeah, we will see you guys later this week.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to support the channel, liking, subscribing, all that. And we will see you next week. We got something on Friday. You going to be here on Friday?
Yeah, I might be here Friday.
Dude, let's do it together on Friday.
Yeah, we might have to. We'll see.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll see you guys on Friday. We got a special guest for sure. That is hopefully a lock. Hopefully a lock. Okay. But look, I'm not even gonna say who it is just in case. But yeah, we got a special guest. So we'll see you guys then. Stay frosty.
GMSONIC is Corval and Dracula Presley. GM.